where he mentioned on the day of Qiyamah there will be shades, but those shades are not for everyone, are for 7 groups of people, isn't it? The first one, Rasulullah said, Imamun Adil, a just leader. Any leader, whether the leader of the community or corporate world, so long as you are a true believer and you are a just leader, you will be provided with a shade on the day of Qiyamah. That's not part of my deed. Billahi minash shaitanir la'inir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد طب القلوب ودوائها ونور أبصارها وعلى أهل بيته الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرح. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. For the love of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, with the loudest of our voices, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Once again, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us with this opportunity in these holy months to continue seeking Allah through the teachings of Quran, prophetic traditions, as well as the traditions and the lifestyle of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. Last night, mu'mineen and mu'minat, if you recall very well, we look at ways and means of bringing success to our marriages or marital relationships. And as I mentioned last night, it is upon me, it is upon each and every one of us to seek to perfect our relationships. We need to work for that perfection, as Allah cherishes that and Allah encourages that. Now the verse I've just quoted for tonight's discussion is Surah Al-Furqan, meaning Quran 25, verse 74. This verse is a praise of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And it is important we take lessons from this beautiful Quranic injuncture of us and a dua from a great prophet of Allah. وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا. Say, Ya Allah. Allah is describing those sincere servants. Grant us min azwajina wa zurriyatina qurrata a'yun. Meaning, Ya Allah, make our wives or spouses, if you like, and our offsprings or children means of comfort to us. So now, departing from this ayah, our discussion of tonight will be to look at raising our children in this modern world or modern societies. And the examination of tonight will be of the following stages. First stage, we'll look at the two divisions of existence, as that will help us understand the need to spend time with our children and to give them proper Muhammadi, Alawi, Fatimi, Hassani, and Husseini upbringing. Second stage of the examination, we'll then look at how human beings plan for their children in life, and the reason as to why we plan for our children. Third stage of the examination, we'll look at the connection between upbringing and community, if you like, connection between individual and society. Like you as an individual and our community, who influence who? Does your attitude influence the community, or does the general mindset of the community influence you as an individual? That's also very, very important. And in the last stage of the examination, we'll then focus more by looking at some practical ways of child upbringing in this modern age, and some of the wrong trends that if you do not avoid, it will cause us in upbringing our children. So the first is the two divisions of existence. You know, in Islamic philosophy, they said we have wujudun hakiki and you have wujudun i'tibari. Don't bother about the meaning. The understanding of it is what is important. If you focus on the meaning, you will give this to the other and the other to the other. So wujudun hakiki is what? Meaning a real life. And then wujudun i'tibari meaning recognized life. Real life simply means physical life, meaning the amount of years you spend in this world. 100 years, 80 years, 50 years, that's what they call real life. It's important, but it's not that important. What is important is wujudun i'tibari. It's recognized life. What is recognized life? Simply additional life. Here I am, Nur Muhammad. 40 years, 44 years, 43 years. Physical. My knowledge is additional life to me. My akhlaq is additional life to me. Whether the akhlaq is good or bad, is something additional to you. That's what they call recognized life. You are who you are because of the substance you bring to the amount of years you spend in this world. That is your mahiyya. That is your essence. So having a good child is extended and additional life. And having a bad child, na'udhu billah, is also extended and additional life. When your son behaves well, the first point of question or call is the parents. When he behaves differently, you see people start asking, whose son is this? Whose daughter is this? So your son or your daughter is additional life to you, because you will be remembered with your sons or daughters, whether you are alive or you are no more in this world. So that is why Islam regards our children as an extension of our existence. Now, there is no human being, whether you have a child or not, who does not prepare for a child. You know what does it mean to say to prepare for a child? Is to prepare for your future. Because you remember I mentioned the other night, every single human being has love for life. There is no one who does not love life. If I say raise up your hands, who want to die tomorrow? I'll give you 1 billion shilling. Commander-in-chief is raising up his hand. I know when you just raising the hands half of it. If Azrael come, I will be the first person to run away, by the way. Every single insan loves life. And because of this love for life, we plan and prepare for our future. How do we plan and prepare for our future? Because we plan in order for our name or our legacy to remain even if we are no more in this world. And the best way to do so is to have a child who, when you depart, he will remain. That's why you see rich people, when the age comes now, they transfer everything in the names of their children. One, of course, security for them. But two, the name Nanji, the name Kanji, those names will remain forever. And the name Molidina, because Doc is looking at the uncle. And the name Molidina. Because that's how we plan for it. So you transfer everything because we plan it. You know why? Because in beautiful teaching of our beloved fourth Imam, in his book of rights, said, وَأَمَّا حَقُّ وَلَدِكَ فَأَنْ تَعْلَمَ أَنَّهُ مِنْكَ وَمُضَافٌ إِلَيْكَ فِي آجِلِ الدُّنْيَا بِخَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ. Imam Zalabni said, you should know the right of your son or your child on you is that he is additional to you in the goodness of this world, or the goodness, the badness or the evilness of this world, and that of Qiyamah. In other words, if you have a good child, you will get reward for it and you will be remembered for that. If you have a bad child, na'udhu billah, you will get the repercussion for it and you will be remembered for that. Hence, you remember the tradition I was quoting the other night. The Holy Prophet mentioned one of the things that will save us once we depart from this world is when we are able to leave behind good and pious son or daughter. If they remember us with just one Fatiha, this even for Akhirah, you are sorted. Allah will sympathize with you and grant you Jannat al-Firdaus. But to have a pious and a good child is a profession. It's easier said than done. All of us sitting here, we will wish to have good children, and alhamdulillah we have. But Islam expects us to take it to the next level. And for I and you to be able to take it to the next level, we need to be determined and to put things into perspective. So therefore, look at the next stage of the examination. Who influences who? Does an individual influence the community? Or is the vice versa? Or both? There are three opinions. But the third opinion is what I personally subscribe to, because I found tradition of Ahlul Bayt on that. The first opinion is what? There are some psychologists that when a person comes to this world, he comes empty. So whatever he has is from the community. So, Ali Rojani, you come here. So they said your attitude, your behavior is the mindset of this such. When a boy like Gibran come here, said the mindset of Gibran is their opinion. But Islam says no, this is half. The second opinion, they said no, it's rumuz. It said those who influence in the community are the celebrities of the community. So say the chairman, say the secretary, or an elderly person, or the imam, people will look at your behavior and they will follow suit. The third opinion is the opinion of Islam and Ahlul Bayt, that both influence each other. Each individual here, you have a role to play to influence your community. Likewise, the general mindset of the community, whether good or bad, influence. So therefore, whatever I'm going to share now, in this next stage, is for parents and is for the community as well. Because if we manage to upbring our daughters and our children properly, wallahi, it will go a long way. It will benefit us in dunya and akhirah. In this new world that we are living in this world of social media, in this world where family values are becoming nothing, do you know the practices of Ahlul Bayt in upbringing children is unbelievable. And if I and you are able to do that, Allah will not leave you alone and will not let you down. Number one, and this should go more to young parents. And as we proceed, and then it will go. This I was mentioning it somewhere. The first thing is at-tarbiyah qabla at-tanmiyah. Look at it. So we've got something called tarbiyah. You've got something called tanmiyah. Tarbiyah meaning upbringing. Tanmiyah meaning development. What is development? I want you to become a doctor. I want you to become an engineer. That's what we are all worried about. After your exams, which university are you going? Don't worry, I've saved up for you. Surah Al-Jumu'ah verse 2 taught us different way. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. Look at the sequence. It's talking about prophets. But what did he do? يزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. First, he purifies them. Then afterwards, he taught them the book. Meaning, as your children are young, instill in them the values of good akhlaq and behavior. We instill in them, you want to become a... It's good, Thomas Edison was very powerful at a young age. The parent instilled that value in him. He invented electricity. Everything is okay. I agree. We need to do that. But what is important is the tarbiyah. You see some people, they don't know how to talk. If you trace tarbiyah, some people, when they open their mouth, the akhlaq is terrible. Some, they know nothing but insults. Some, when they have problem with you, they don't know how to address you. It is akhlaq that begins from home. You find mu'mineen, Muslims, Shia, they go to a meeting, they fight and insult each other, and what they are discussing is all about Islamic affairs. Tarbiyah. We need to first look at the tazkiyah of our children. Instill the good values in them before you start planting into their minds. I want you to become a doctor. I want you to become a nurse. You will hardly see our children sitting and discussing tarbiyah. They're only discussing how they want to change the world in terms of education, which is crucial. We need it. But the tarbiyah comes first. But how do you go about it? Second line. At-tarbiyah ghayru mubashir. This goes to all of us, and even the community. That upbringing, that tazkiyah should be done in an indirect way, not direct. You see what I'm doing now? It's direct. The impact is not too much. The indirect way of teaching has greater impact. What is indirect way? If you want your children to pray, let them see you praying. Miracle will not happen. Forget. You have to do it in the. You want them to recite Quran? You do now. If they don't do, I promise you, don't worry. They will slowly follow suit. You want them to stop lying. You telling them don't lie. You gossip about people in your house. That's tarbiyah غير مباشر. You are bringing them in an indirect way. Whatever you want to see in them, let them see it in you. Then it will work out. Otherwise it will be difficult. But now you sending them for madrasa on Sunday, I don't know, or Saturday, and you hardly open Quran in the house every side, and you want a miracle to happen. Then when there is problem, you lament, wage war against the teachers, wage war against the madrasa, and you are literally doing nothing. But when it is school, everybody keep quiet. When it is school, nobody challenge. But when it is Islam, it's always secondary. Islam, excuse my word, we regard it sometimes as trash. So whoever teach Islam, this is secondary, because there is no money here. This child, when he goes to school, will bring money. If you do not give priority to the madrasa of your children, be rest assured, they will not get to that level where you would wish them to get to. We have to change our mindsets. Quran and Ahlul Bayt is what will complement to all of us to be able to withstand the challenges of the world of today. So tarbiyah غير مباشر. I want you to be patient, I must be patient. I want you to do charity, I must do charity. Imam Ali says, Man ja'ala nafsahu imama falyabda' bitarbiyati nafsi. Whoever makes himself a leader, he must begin training himself before he thinks of training others. Look at our leadership. Look at our people. Sometimes it's pathetic. We preach virtues and practice vice. That's why there are no impacts. So tarbiyah غير مباشر. Baba, you don't want him to sit outside? Let them see you sitting. Don't worry, in future he will come. You don't do, you want him to do? That's not going to work out. The third one is what? Insijam. Look at this. And this goes to the communities also. بين جيل قديم وجيل الجديد. It's reconciliation between the older generation and the new generation. Look at our community. Marginalization, disintegration between older and new. When have you seen the young are sitting with the old and speaking? When are the old going to give the values they have to the young? Who is going to do that? It's the work. That is where community can influence. Jeel Kadim, Jeel Jadid. Young are thinking the old are backward. The old are thinking the young are not religious. Where do we draw the line? Tarbiyah. It's crucial. If you allow the elders to go without sharing their experience with you, you've lost. And elders, if you don't make good use of the energy of the youngs and you leave, it's a loss. How do we do that? I will share how we do it. Based on the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. Reconciliation is crucial. So you have a young child in the house. You want to upbring the child. Reconcile. There are elders in the community. You want to upbring or you want to have things together. Reconcile. Old people say, we want to Urdu. Young people say, we want to English. What do? Are you going to force Urdu on them? Are you going to force English on them? No, it appeals to you. It doesn't appeal to me. You can't force me. I can't force you. There must be reconciliation. What goes to you, it doesn't go to me. We've got two different ways of looking at things, but we can get together and do things at the same time. Reconciliation is crucial. You may have your style in the house, but your son is finding it difficult to adapt. You're going to force it on him? No. Reconcile. Compromise. Your son compromise. That's the reality of the world I'm talking about. Masa'ib in Urdu appeals to you. In English, it doesn't appeal. No big deal. You are right. It appeals to you in English. It doesn't. No big deal. But we can reconcile. This is one of the biggest issues we are facing in our communities, and families are facing it. How do we do to reconcile? One, at-tafahum. We need to understand each other. Understand this is how he is. And understand this young fellow, this is how he is. You know what Imam Ali says, you know. لا تفسروا أولادكم على آدابكم فإنهم ولدوا في زمان غير زمانكم. Don't interpret and put comments on the akhlaq of your children based on your time. Because they are created different time from yours. Amir al-Mu'mineen. So you need to understand that. Then you can bring reconciliation. But how do you understand it? Let me tell you. Current age has two features which cannot be found in the olden age. The first one is called Jilu Tawasul and Jilu Ittisal. You know, the current age, people connect easily, but the connection doesn't last. Old age took time to connect, but the friendship and connection lasts. What do I mean? Current age is the age of technology. You're going to tell him something, you're going to tell him, I'm going to Google. You're not making sense, Maulana. Yes. You will tell, look, I've been to university. I've done critical thinking at school. You standing next to member. This is what you're telling me. I'm not going to go. Rather, you change your style or your topic. Otherwise, I'm not there. It's a reality. The earlier we start bashing people, this is wrong, this is right, this is a good Muslim, this is bad Muslim, the better we develop our community and our children. And the second feature is what? In terms of understanding. This current age, aktharu nakdan, too much inquisitive. In the olden days, you will mention something, nobody will stop you and ask you. But here you finish, people ask you, young children ask you some difficult questions. So, in trying to reconcile, we need to understand each other's time. So Imam Ali says, you can't run a community without senior citizens. He didn't use the word senior, he used old. And you can't run a community without a youth. So you know how Imam Ali says? He said the role of senior citizens is to give advice. And the role of the youth is to execute and implement the advice. But sometimes, excuse me, some of us think that our fathers, our mothers, they are at the brink of dying, close to sakarat. So who bothers about them anymore? They give an idea, no, it's our time. Who cares? Senior citizens, all the programs are tailored for the youth. Where is the program for the seniors? I always challenge the youth all over the world. All the centers we have are built or were built by the seniors. Youth, what are you doing and taking it forward? All our centers in the world are built by our fathers. The youth, what are you doing to take it to the next level? So reconciliation, it cannot be either my way or the highway. We have to meet each other in the middle. The second way to reconcile is what? Hiwar, dialogue. You and your daughter, your son in the house, dialogue. Create an opportunity for our old generation and the new to dialogue. They must dialogue. There is something you want to introduce in the community. Look, we serve in the community. We are not serving ourselves. We building our children for Imam Zaman. It's not for our own ego. There must be an opportunity in the house where you dialogue with your children, and there must be an opportunity in the community where we dialogue. Old and young come together, dialogue. Because one thing you cannot take away from old people is their experience of life. I was telling the other person the other day, he said, the one who sleeps before you, wake up before you. Meaning the one who sees world before you, you can't tell him about the world, irrespective of the level of your education. So we need hiwar, dialogue. We need to reconcile. The third way is what? Patience. As you are bringing your daughter, your son, you're having dialogue. The son is not budging. The daughter is not budging. You're trying to show the person the way. Be patient. Same thing in the community. You're trying to bring something. Dialogue is failing. Be patient. Be sober. Patience. Keep dialogue. Keep it going. You'll find a way through that. And these are the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. And the last practical step, when we look at the last point, is to show our daughters and sons or the young ones in the community true love. What is true love? In a family, you see, Imam Ali looked at Imam Hassan. He said, وَجَدْتُكَ بَعْضِي بَلْ وَجَدْتُكَ كُلِّي كَأَنْ أَصَابَكَ شَيْءٌ أَصَابَنِي. He said, oh Hassan, I found you half of me. He said, no. I found you whole of me. If something would happen to me, I, Ali, will happen to you, I, Ali, would be affected. You have to show true love to your children. Likewise, seniors, when you come to the mosque, show true love with the young ones. You can't run a community where there is disintegration between young and old. Or there is a gap in the house between you and your daughters. You can't relate to each other. Whether we like it or not. Whether we are prepared to accept or not. Youth have their needs and old generation have their needs. The earlier we understand this and cater for it, the better for the development and for the reappearance of Imam of our time. Now there are some bad habits. We need to be careful about it. This bad habit can destroy all our work. First one, khulful wa'ad. Lying to your children. Even if it's a joke, it destroys. Imam Ali said, أحب الصبيان وارحموهم فإن وعدتموهم ففوا لهم فإنهم لا يرون إلا أنكم ترزقونهم. He said, love your children and have mercy upon your children. And if you promise them something, give them, because they don't see any sustainer like you. So if you tell your son, I will bring you lollipop. You know lollipop? Huh? You know, Yusuf, you know lollipop? Yusuf is my guy, man. And then you come, Papa, where is lollipop? There's no lollipop. You are teaching the child to, like you tell him you'll take him to the Shujam with a golden spoon, and then you refuse to take, you are teaching the child to lie. Be very careful about that. Number two thing you have to be very careful, segregation between your children. Imam Jafar admonished someone who was segregating between his children. The time is giving that more than the time he was giving that. He said, Allah sawaita bainahum. Why are you not treating them equal? So the same thing in the community. You have to treat people equal. No one is better than the other. Otherwise, you will not get what you want. If you have 2, 3 children, treat them equal. The third bad habit is what? If you have boys and girls, and you show more respect to boys over the girls. You know, this thing of undermining women starts from upbringing, by the way. You find a girl in the house, boy in the house, but boy is taken to a certain level. And when you ask a question, no. At the end of the day, you're going to get married. Somebody's going to look after you. No. You know what Rasulullah says? In a house where there is a girl, every single day, 12 different rahmah and barakah comes. And an angel visits that place frequently. So this is also bad habits. When you segregate between girl and a boy. The next one, which is very dangerous, and you bear with me, I'm going to use a very appropriate language here. You can't afford to spend quality time when your children are awake. It causes the child, as he or she grows, to express unlawful desire. It's according to the tradition of the prophets. Even if they are in their own room, but so long as the eyes are open and the ears could hear, be very, very careful. And that is why Islam taught us akhlaq and adab of salam. In what way? You are in your house, you've got your own room, your children have their own room. Learn to teach your children. Every room they go, first they knock or say salam, and they should not enter until they are told to enter. Adab. You can't say salam and then you storm. So why Islam says that? Because of our children. They are your children, but Islam doesn't want them to see you in any dress. That's Islamic etiquette. You have to understand that. So therefore, you can't spend quality time when your children are awake. Even if they are babies. Was-sabi, the word said was-sabi. And the child or infant is awake. Be careful about that. The energy affects, and it goes a long way. The last but not least one is what? Don't dress anyhow in front of your children. And you understand when I say anyhow. You have to keep some haya in front of the children. Like somebody asked me this afternoon. You can shake hand, you can hug, but know the limits to that. And be careful not to shout at each other in the presence of your children. It affects. Some throwing blows and the children are sitting. The child becomes violent, they don't know where the child picked it up from. These are some of the reasons. The child becomes impatient, they get surprised. Because you were throwing blows to one another. And you want the child to grow to become the better child. And last but not least, Don't watch wrong movies in your house. Wrong YouTubes. Although the child is not watching, psychologically, it has been proven. And we have riwayat, by the way. Watching these movies. No, they are sleeping. You know, upbringing means what? Sacrifice what is so dear to you for the sake of the children. You love to watch this movie. Now I am a father. I am a mother. I'm not going to do it. You have to sacrifice for the sake of your children. And in conclusion, don't ever forget to make dua for your children. Parents, your du'as, especially mothers, goes a long way. And Allah answer your du'as. So therefore I want to say, fathers, mothers, children are gifts of Allah. And how you look after these gifts, you are going to be questioned. Your behaviors or your akhlaq, if your child picks it up, you will be held accountable. So if you don't want to change your akhlaq, change it for the children. Fathers, don't live upbringing only with women. You know what you are doing? You're depriving the children the fatherly dimension. See, woman, she goes through pregnancy of 9 months. Then she goes through breastfeeding 1 year, something, 2 years if you go the Quranic way. Still up and down. Emotionally, it drains a person. The person needs proper, conducive atmosphere, backup, love, time. They get tired sometimes. And men are free. It's not my duty, it's their duty. Who said that? Time is crucial, mu'minin and mu'minat. I mentioned it this afternoon. The secret to upbringing is timing. Unless if na'udhu billah, father has a bad billah. Huh? Somebody says, my father drink alcohol. He comes once after Mambara, he go drink. It will affect your children. Music, it affects. So fathers, I appeal to you. Help those children sometimes with schoolwork. If you don't show them love now, there will be distance between you and them. And I was telling them this afternoon, somebody asked me the same question. If you have a daughter, your daughters, there are differences in terms of how you bring up daughter and how you bring up boys. To a certain age, we've got difference. A daughter, as young as she is, she needs mother more. But as she's growing up, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, she'll need the father more. She'll need those hugs. If you don't give her, she'll go to the house of her husband, mission. You know why we have problems in marriages? Because of the houses children are coming from. So therefore, these children are amanat in our hands. And we need to be careful about it. Inshallah, tomorrow is the birth anniversary of our beloved second Imam. So we'll discuss a little bit about youth, as I promised, and then inshallah we'll look at certain dimension of the life of our beloved second Imam. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, who bless us with children, to grant us with the tawfiqat to be able to look after them properly. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect our children wherever they are. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, we cannot do it without you, Ya Allah. No matter what, how we try, there is no way we'll be able to get to the peak. So we seek Allah's intervention for us to be able to raise them in accordance with the teachings of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. May Allah soften our hearts to spend time with our children, inshaAllah. And our marhumin, may Allah forgive them and grant them Jannat al-Firdaus. Mu'minin and mu'minat who are not well, may Allah cure them with His cure. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Where he mentioned on the day of Qiyamah there will be shades, but those shades are not for everyone, are for 7 groups of people, isn't it? The first one, Rasulullah said, Imamun Adil, a just leader. Any leader, whether the leader of the community or corporate world, so long as you are a true believer and you are a just leader, you will be provided with a shade on the day of Qiyamah. That's not part of my